In the legendary tales of Silicon Valley startups, failure is almost the shadow of success. Some strike it rich overnight, while others lose everything they've got. But is there a way to make entrepreneurship less of a gamble and more of a controlled science? The Lean Startup is exactly that kind of book. Written by Ries and published in 2011, it hit shelves right as a global startup fever was taking off. This isn't just a methodology, it's a revolution that flips traditional startup thinking on its head. It tells us that success doesn't come from luck but from experiments and data paving the way. Eric himself is a living example. He founded IMVU, a virtual social platform, pouring his heart into building a product. When it launched, he was full of hope, only to find users didn't care at all. That failure hit him hard and made him rethink everything. Why had he spent so much effort without even knowing what users truly wanted? From those ashes, he forged the idea of the Lean Startup. Drawing inspiration from Toyota's lean manufacturing, he proposed validating ideas with minimal cost and maximum speed. Since its release, this book has become a guiding light for entrepreneurs. It's even shaped how big companies and government agencies innovate. Today, we're diving into this book to see how the word lean rewrites the rules of the startup game. Eric's story is inspiring, but his insights are what really grab you. Traditional startups often bet big, spending years perfecting a product that might flop. The Lean Startup flips that script, build a rough prototype, test it in the market, and tweak it based on feedback. Think of it like a chef tasting a dish. Start with a small batch, not a full feast. This approach cuts risk and helps founders zero in on what users actually need. So, what exactly is the Lean Startup? What are its core methods? And how has it changed our world? Let's peel back the layers step by step. Part 1. The core logic of the Lean Startup. At its heart, the Lean Startup boils down to a loop: build, measure, learn. This isn't just a catchy slogan, it's a hands-on way to get things done. Eric calls it the feedback loop, a system for finding the right path through rapid trial and error. The whole point is speed and efficiency, so you don't waste time on dead ends. Step 1 is build. But this isn't about crafting a fully polished product. It's about creating a minimum viable product, or MVP for short. An MVP doesn't need bells and whistles, it just needs to show your core idea and let users try it. Take Dropbox founder Drew Houston, for example. Early on, he didn't write a single line of code. Instead, he made a demo video showcasing the cloud storage concept and posted it online to gauge interest. Overnight, tens of thousands signed up, proving the idea had legs. That's the beauty of an MVP. It's not the final product, it's a testing tool to check your assumptions. The trick with an MVP is balancing minimum and viable. Too basic, and it won't show value. Too complex, and it defeats the lean purpose. Drew's choice was brilliant: minimal effort, maximum insight. Step 2 is measure. Once your MVP is out there, you collect data on how users interact with it. But the Lean Startup doesn't settle for shallow stats like download numbers. Eric introduced innovation accounting, a way to track metrics that reveal a product's true worth. For instance, after IMVU launched, the team noticed users signed up but rarely returned. They ran experiments, tweaking features until retention climbed. The key is avoiding vanity metrics like raw user growth. Instead, focus on numbers that show real vitality, like user engagement or willingness to pay. Innovation accounting is about finding your North Star metric, the one number that defines success. For a social app, that might be daily active users, not total signups. This focus keeps you from drowning in a sea of data. Step 3 is learn. From the data, you figure out if your idea holds water. If it doesn't, you pivot. If it does, you double down. Zappos founder Tony Hsieh is a classic case. He wanted to test if people would buy shoes online. Instead of building a warehouse, He snapped photos at local stores, posted them online, and bought shoes to ship only after orders came in. The demand was clear, so he built the full e-commerce platform. This was decision-making driven by data, not gut feelings. Pivoting or persisting sounds simple, but it's tough in practice. At IMVU, they realized users hated complex features and boldly cut them for a simpler social experience. That takes guts. Letting go means admitting past work was wasted. But that decisiveness put them on the right track. Speed is the heart of this loop. Eric argues the biggest threat to startups isn't running out of cash, it's running out of time. When resources are tight, the winner is whoever figures out user needs fastest. It's like a race, and the lean startup gives you the shortest track. Plus, this loop isn't a one-and-done deal, it's a constant cycle. Each round brings you closer to the truth. This iterative mindset has totally changed the pace of entrepreneurship. Part 2. Practical tools of the lean startup. The theory sounds great, but how do you use it? The lean startup isn't just talk, it hands you a toolbox to turn ideas into action. Let's unpack a few key tools that help you dodge startup pitfalls. First up is hypothesis testing. Every startup idea rests on an assumption. Say you want to launch an online handmade soap store. Your hypothesis might be, people will pay more for natural soap. How do you test it? Not by stocking up and opening shop, but by making a simple web page with soap photos and prices to see who bites. If no one buys, your assumption's off, and you might pivot to cheaper regular soap. This saves you from betting big before knowing the market's mood. The trick is pinning down your hypothesis clearly. Maybe there's another assumption: people prefer local handmade goods. Run a small test comparing local versus non-local soap orders. Break your assumptions into bite-sized pieces, and the answers get sharper. Next is customer development. This comes from Steve Blank and was woven into Eric's framework. It says, don't guess in your office, go talk to real people. Planning a running app? Skip the coding and chat with 10 runners about their habits and pain points. Airbnb's founders did this. They noticed hosts struggled with photos, so they offered to snap better ones, and bookings soared. Real user needs come from conversations, not your imagination. Customer development has two phases: customer discovery to find your audience, then customer validation to confirm their need. Airbnb even visited users' homes, spotting that folks wanted to rent rooms but feared hassle, so they added insurance. This user-first approach is the soul of lean. Third is rapid iteration. With an MVP and early feedback, improve your product like leveling up in a game. Twitter's a prime example. It started as Audio, a podcast platform, but when iTunes crushed that market, they pivoted fast to a short messaging tool. Twitter was born. They took small, quick steps, tweaking based on user input, not massive overhauls. Rapid iteration means changing one thing at a time, fast and precise. Twitter's 1:0 character limit came from SMS compatibility, but users loved the brevity, so it stayed. This fine-tuning takes sharp eyes and quick moves. Fourth is split testing. This is a nitty-gritty experiment method. Unsure if a red or blue button works better on your product page? Run a split test. Half your users see red, half see blue, then check which converts more. Google's a pro at this. They even tested search page shadow colors and found light gray won. It's a way to nail down the best details. The key is controlling variables. Test one thing at a time for clean results. Fifth is small batch testing before mass production. This shines for hardware or physical goods. Want to sell a new backpack design? Don't make 1000, craft 10 samples, sell them, and see what users say before scaling up. Kickstarter projects do this a lot. Crowdfund to test demand, then grow if it works. It cuts inventory risk and keeps you flexible. These tools turn entrepreneurship into an experiment. You're not rolling the dice, you're using science to shrink uncertainty. Eric says the lean startup borrows from Toyota's lean production. Toyota cut waste and tweaked lines fast to lead the car industry. Likewise, the lean startup focuses your energy on what matters, skipping pointless busywork. And it's not just for startups. Job hunting? Toss a resume to a few companies, see the response, then tweak your approach. That's the universal power of lean thinking. Part 3. The social value of the lean startup. The lean startup isn't just a founder's playbook, its impact stretches beyond Silicon Valley. It's seeped into big companies, governments, even non-profits, becoming a go-to innovation style. Let's see how it's reshaped different worlds. For startups, it's practically the default now. Uber didn't roll out global ride-hailing day one, they tested a basic app in San Francisco first. When drivers and riders bit, they expanded. This test then scale vibe is pure lean startup. It helps tiny teams survive on scraps by finding cracks to thrive in. Instagram started as Bourbon, a cluttered social app, but users loved the photo feature, so they ditched the rest and built a photo empire. That adaptability? Lean startup's gift. Big companies have caught on too. General Electric GE used it to build Nigear. They used to spend years perfecting industrial products. Now, they whip up a prototype, hand it to clients, and refine it based on feedback. It slashes time and makes products fit real needs. For a new engine, GE made a stripped-down version for airlines to test, fixed flaws fast, and launched a winner. Eric calls this entrepreneurship, big firms acting nimble like startups. It's a tough shift with corporate red tape, but lean cuts through. Outside business, it works too. The US government used it to fix the healthcare system. Instead of dropping a giant website, they launched a basic version and polished it based on user gripes. That dodged the years-long slog of old-school projects and made services more people-friendly. The healthcare site crashed early on, but quick tweaks fixed it in weeks, boosting user satisfaction. That agile vibe? Lean startup's DNA. Education's in on it too. Some universities design courses lean style. They test a pilot class, tweak it based on student input, instead of rolling out a huge curriculum blind. One school found students loved short hands-on projects, so they cut a year-long course to 3 months. Enrollment doubled. It's iteration with students at the center, lean to the core. Even grade schools try it. A teacher tested group discussions in one class, saw kids light up, then spread it wide. Nonprofits use it too. A charity wanted to boost rural education. Instead of dumping cash into schools, they ran a short training camp in one village to check engagement. They learned night classes worked best and adjusted the plan. Small tests like that save resources and up the odds of success. This wide reach comes from a simple truth: fast learning beats perfect planning. In a wild, changing world, startups and giants alike need to roll with uncertainty. The lean startup turns failure into a stepping stone, not a dead end. It's not just changing business, it's rewriting how we think about innovation. Part 4. The limits and reflections of the lean startup. The lean startup is powerful, but it's not a cure-all. Every method has its edges, and knowing them helps us use it smarter. First, it leans hard on data, but data can trick you. Your MVP might wow early adopters, but they don't always speak for the masses. Pebble's smartwatch crushed it on crowdfunding, but tanked in stores, and the company folded. Lean's great for short-term validation, but long-term trends? It's shakier. A quirky product might pop at first, but without fresh ideas, users ditch it fast. Lean gets you going, it doesn't always keep you there. Second, lean loves speed, but some fields can't rush. Drug development can't MVP its way through safety, takes years to prove. A new medicine might need a decade from lab to shelf, every step careful. Eric admits lean fits best for fast iteration zones like software or consumer goods, not hardware or heavy industry. Tesla iterates, sure, but hardware's complexity slows the trial and error game. Plus, lean can make you too hooked on user feedback. Do users always know what they want? Not really. Henry Ford famously said, "If I'd asked customers, they'd have wanted faster horses." When the iPhone debuted, no one clamored for touchscreens. Apple made the market. Lean's ace at refining what's out there, but game changers? It might play to safe. Also, Lean can skip the human side. Great methods need great teams. If your crew lacks drive or can't sync up, even a killer MVP won't save you. Some startups nail the MVP but flounder because the team can't pivot together. Lean's all about outside feedback, but inside dynamics? It's quiet on that front. These limits don't trash Lean, they just say use it wisely. It's about experimentation at its core, and that can flex anywhere. Hardware folks can simulate instead of MVP. Innovators can test niche markets first. The trick is grabbing its essence, not copying it blind. Eric says it himself, Lean's not a rulebook, it's a mindset. How you wield it is up to you.